Yay.
Hey, hey Quentin,
Hey, Jan.
how are you
How are
today?
you? I'm good. How about you?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm happy we have established this YouTube format now. Let's see how that works out. And
Yeah.
you can see that we have, just to make sure who is who, we have got the two names there, well, not to mix that up. So welcome, everybody. And would you mind just typing in the chat quickly if you can hear and see us,
Yeah.
or
Would be
that?
better if we can start and make sure everyone is good and everything is good as well. Because it was a bit of a challenge to set it up to have it on both channels, but hopefully it works well.
Yeah, but hi, all good. Thanks, Lulu.
Great.
Perfect.
Awesome. Yeah, so just as a word of an introduction, perhaps for people who are following. So we had the same format on Instagram before. So if you discover us today on YouTube, well, make sure to check out both of our channels because it's the first time that we do the format on YouTube. It's the first video in English that I do on my YouTube channel as well. I think, Jan, all your content is already in English. You
Yes.
had some of it in German, right?
Yeah, I think there were a few old videos that are in German, but most of them are also in English, and so
Yeah.
the same content in English is available. And yeah, you can check it out. And there's some tuition in retouching and some thoughts about the industry. So feel free to check it out. But the most important thing is that Quentin and me have moved our conversation from Instagram, we call Two Caps, One Passion, where we talk about all our insights into the creative industry that we, as a photographer that Quentin is, and as a retoucher that I am, have gathered over the course of our careers, and that we are happy to discuss and share with you. And today is all about self-marketing, and we want to share our three best practices, each of us, with you. And if you are on the fly, have some questions, or if something comes up, just feel free to put it in the chat. And for the future episodes, if you are interested in throwing in questions beforehand, you can do so. We always do researches for questions on Instagram, but of course you can also send us emails and connect to all the channels that are available. And at the end of this video, there's going to be a couple of links that you can connect with us, and also in the video description in the end. All right,
Yeah. Yeah.
Quentin.
Yeah. Just one last thing. So if you're watching, the replay will be available on both of our channels as well. So if you don't see the whole thing, or if you're missing some parts, so just make sure you can watch the replay afterwards. And if we do talk about some platforms, which we will add all the links, just like Jan said. So, all right, we're good.
Okay, so I think without much further ado, we can dive right in, right? So we
Sure
had
thing.
a conversation earlier today about this episode,
Yeah.
and we came up with topics that we think are very interesting for everybody that is interested in improving its marketing, and we've made some kind of order that it works well together. And Quentin, would you like to start?
Sure. So the first thing I wanted to talk about, my first top tip, and I think it's actually the one that helped me the most this year, is cold emailing. And by that, I mean contacting people that I've never had any contact with before. It's something I've done for the past couple of years. I think it's been the third year this year, but this year I changed how I did it. And I went from a 0 to 5% response to a 50 to 80% response to my emails. So
Wow,
I wanted to talk
that's
a bit about,
that's
it's
quite a lot,
huge.
man.
The difference was big. So when I started out the emailing process, I used to use Agency Access. It's a directory that you can use to find contacts in the industry. So anyone who is in a creative agency or big client or production or whatever, you can find the contacts from those people, so people that can hire you, and then you can simply reach out to them using Agency Access. Just so you know, there are other platforms as well, so Agency Access is not the only one. There is Bikini List and Yodelist, I think, or Yodelist, I think it is. But I've always used Agency Access, and it kind of worked, but I used to use it as a newsletter system more than anything else. And the response was good, but not like crazy good. So this year around, I changed things up for something that was a bit more personalized, and that was due to COVID as well, because I wanted to reach to companies that were more local, so smaller companies, and companies that wouldn't go through agencies as well, which changed things up a little. So I used LinkedIn to actually find my contacts. And should I actually show it on
You
LinkedIn?
can, sure. I'll switch to your desktop.
Cool. So I can show you a good example that would be easier. I'm just not sure because the YouTube thing is a bit delayed. Okay, good. Here we go. So on LinkedIn, how I do things is, let's say I want to work with, I don't know, do you have a name for our brand?
For a brand?
Yeah, a company.
Let's say maybe Louis Vuitton or LV.
Perhaps something, something smaller.
Something smaller.
Yeah.
In the beauty area or.
Yeah, whatever company that you enjoy, so people know it's not a cheat.
Well, there's so many. You get me off guard here. Can't make up one now that is small.
What's the last thing you bought?
That I bought? Oh God. Again, that's not my job here. Most of the time my wife buys these things. But let's think about a beauty brand. What can that be? Like Schwarzkopf? Too big? No?
Yeah, we'll see. Schwarz.
Or Henkel?
Okay. Oh, that could be a good one. Hold on. In the chat, Natasha Nona. Can we find it here? Okay, company.
Thank you, Lulu, for helping me out.
Awesome. Thanks. Yeah, Kiko would be a good one as well. So I just type in a name for a company, and I'll show you afterwards how we could actually find other companies as well, because there is a way to find companies in your area. So it makes things even better. So you don't have to just search for companies that you know of. So I go to the company. And what's great about LinkedIn is that most people are subscribed to it. So if you go to people, and then here, you can go into the employees and find someone who's in marketing. So it just makes things much easier. And there you go. You can find people who are working for marketing. I'm not sure those would be good examples, because attorney, head of marketing, perhaps this one could be good. Marketing coordinator, PR, influencer relation, probably not someone who would hire me. So that's what I'm looking for, someone who could hire me.
Head of marketing sounds reasonable, or at least she would know the person that you could contact.
Yeah, it sounds probably like the best. So if I click on her, then I can double check, because sometimes some people just add in what they are doing. So here, product development, market analysis. She could, but I'm not sure. But in any case, that's probably the best contact we've got in the company. And then I'm using a plugin that's called Apollo, and I use another one that's called Get Email. Get Email, you get 10 credits per month for free, I think Apollo is entirely free. And here, if I go and click view email address, or if I click on get email, which I'm not going to do, I would get the email of that person so that I can reach out to her directly, which is great because the thing that you want to do is to create a personal contact. So you want to reach out to the company, to the person that would hire you and not anyone in the company. And I think that's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
And if you are just like us before and you don't know how to find any company, if I go back to the search, if I type into like cosmetics and do a see all results, then in LinkedIn you get all those filters that can be really helpful to make a search. Yeah, so then you can go to like companies that are based, let's say I want only companies that are local to me, so Switzerland. Boom. I make show results. And then I can say, I don't want to work with big brands because then they are probably going through marketing agencies. So if I reach out directly, it's probably a loss of time. So let's say 1 to 10, 11 to 50, 50 to 200 could be doable.
Yeah.
But they probably have the budget for an agency. So it's kind of in between. But let's make it in the filter. So show results. And then I've got a list of 387 companies. Just by experience, I can tell you if you search for cosmetics, you're probably going to end up with some hair salons, spa, and stuff like that in the list. But still, it gives you a great list of people to contact. I wouldn't contact everyone on the list. I would go and check out their website and see if the content they have is matching the work that I produce, and if I can actually add some value to their visual identity. Because I don't want to contact a brand that I know I wouldn't be able to achieve the same results they already have or make something better. I want to contact brands that I know could hire me and that I could help grow. And that's how I do it on LinkedIn. And that's actually what helped me a lot to grow this year, by just finding companies that are matching my work and that could need my work as well, and not just reach out to anyone on list from Agency Access or other directory services. So yeah, that's my first tip. I don't know if there is any questions even. Yeah.
That's really amazing because LinkedIn is such a huge platform, and by using these filters in a very straightforward way, you can limit down your search results, and you could possibly find the people that you would like to talk to, or that you can just reach out to find out if these are the ones that can help you, or that you can then ask to forward your requests. And I think these plugins, there's one thing that we need to point out possibly, that those don't work with all browsers, right?
Yeah, I use them in Chrome. So I mentioned Get Email, which works directly in Chrome and displays directly on LinkedIn. This one, I believe, is about, $49 per month for 300 credits, or free for 10. I personally send out about 10 to 50 emails each week. So 10 credits is a bit short if you're building your list. I'd advise to build your lists like 1 month out of 2, every 2 months, and then pay for like 1 month out of 2 and not every month. It depends on what you want to do and how you work. Apollo is free, I think.
If I may just quickly jump in.
Yeah, sure.
You were mentioning that you're building a list. So that means that you're building an email list, right?
Yeah. I used to use Google Sheet for that, and that works well until a certain point.
Did you say Google Sheet?
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce it in English. But,
just kidding, man. Just kidding.
Yeah. But yeah, it turns out after a long time, started to getting actual shit. So I actually moved on to HubSpot now. HubSpot is free in a certain version, and I think it's actually quite good as a CRM for reaching out to new clients and keeping track of who you reach out to and when, because that's something you don't want to do, is to reach out too often to the same person. So what I do is typically I send out an email to a new client every week, so a new client, and then the ones that I've contacted and that didn't unsubscribe from my list, I'll send them out an email every 3 to 6 months.
So that means you're nurturing the lead?
Yeah. Usually it's every 3 months they will receive a newsletter from me. So the first email is personalized, and then every 3 months they will receive something that's more generic, but it's still relevant to what they do. So I will not send food photography to a cosmetics brand, because I do food photography, but I'm not going to send it out to everyone out there. Yeah. So I do an email per category. Even in the cosmetics industry, I tend to separate makeup from skincare, from spa, from makeup, or anything else different. So everything is really separated.
That's amazing. To just get this clear, if you create an email list, it's not that you send out like news to everybody on that list, but you make like segments from the list. But you have a list where you make groups, or where you have like separate sections. And to those, like, could be also a section, could be a company, right? If it's a larger company and you have got a lot of people that are in it, you send an update on recent work that you made, or if you finished a job with that company, could be nice to let them know that this job was finished, and for example. And
I see some people are asking in the chat, so that's going along what you're currently saying. Some people are asking what I'm putting in my emails. So the newsletter that I send every 3 to 6 months is like you just said, an update of my company. So it could be a recent project that I did for a client. It could be a personal project that I'm working on or that I'm done with. It could be an end of the year email just to say thank you for hiring me to clients that hired me. For some good clients, I'll send a postcard or a gift at the end of the year. It's just a contact that I try to keep every couple of months. And then the first email, I think, and that's funny because we had the chat before the video, because Jan actually asked me what I put in my first email. I think the first email, I can tell you whatever I want. It has to be personalized, not just in the sense that it has to be personalized towards the clients, but towards or according to your personality as well. I'm not the kind of person who is going to make like a funny first email. But if you're someone who's funny, the goal is to make your personality show through the email. So try to make something that's reflecting who you are as a person, as a photographer, or as a retoucher, so that the client knows how it's going to be working with you. And it's actually a really good thing to do that, because otherwise, if you are extremely serious in your first email and then you go for a meeting and you are someone who's really outgoing and funny and you just laugh out loud all the time, the clients might be surprised, and it's not really a good thing. So in the first email, I'll try to showcase who I am in the way I'm writing the email, and that will include a kind of a proof that I looked at their work. So if it's an agency, I'll compliment them on a recent project that I actually like and that they worked on. If it's a company, I'll compliment them on a project, or I'll say that I like the fundamentals of their company. I don't know if you can say that in English, like the
values.
The values they have. That's much better. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, the values they have. So if a company is working like trying to find ethic ways of creating a product, that's something that I like. Or if they are working with natural product, that's something I can relate to. I live in the Alps, in the nature, and that's something I want to talk about with them as well. So just try to show that you've taken some time to search on the companies and what they do and how they work and what you can add on to their company and visual identity. And then I'll just try to get something out of the first email, but not to be too pushy, meaning I'm going to try to get a simple email back or a phone call, depending on the client. But it's important not just to send the email out and be like, okay, so here's my work. I usually just send out an email with finishing by like, how can I say that? If you like my work, just let me know. I'd be happy to take a phone call with you or whatever. Just try to get something out of the email. A call to action is important at the end of the email, just a way to get some response back, because if you're not asking for an answer, they will not give you any.
No, and I guess it's a good idea not to be too long in that email, because especially when they don't know you, I think if you are having your one-liner ready, that's also a big thing in self-marketing. You have to have your elevator pitch, right? And because you know what you do, and if you can present what you do or showcase the benefit of working with you, like if it gets clear in one sentence or two, you are much likely more to be understood the way you want to, in comparison to just brabbling about what you do and being too long and not on point in that email, because you can always see it with yourself. If you wouldn't want to read what you send out, if you put yourself in the shoe of someone else, possibly no one else will. And that's the thing that I needed to learn. I'm pretty good in telling a lot when being in a conversation, and but especially if you're not in a one-on-one setting, and if you're reaching out to someone that doesn't have enough time, because we all get a lot of emails or other messages, and the attention span is rather short, you should be on point, and you should also bring in some intrigue or curiosity in that. So if you can be on point, I think you get a high chance that people will read it. So that leads to the what's that in English? The headline of your email. The subject.
The headline is really important. It's something you have to nail. Just find something that makes people open it. And one tip I can give about that is do some A/B testing, meaning when you send like 10 emails per week, send 5 with one title and another one with 5 different emails with another title. So 2 titles each week, and you check out which one is working the best. And next week you keep the one that's working best and you try another one for 5 different addresses. And then with time, you're going to find one that works really well and that actually outperforms all the other. And that's something you really need to do. You can do the same with the content. That's something I've done for the first 6 months of this year, trying to refine my email. So I was doing some A/B testing every week. Every week I would send out emails and just tweak some stuff on some of the emails I would send out, just to make sure to find the best way to get clients to click on the links. And to answer the question someone asked if I add an attachment to the email, I do, but it's not my portfolio. I just send a small JPEG with 3 pictures that represent my work best, just so that if they open the email on the phone, then they will get a sample of my work. And if they do like it, they will click on the links. On the mail on the desktop, it may not show, so it doesn't matter. But most people are going to read it on their phone. So
yeah, that's true. And now I had a thought, but it went away. It's gonna come back regarding that email. Anyhow, are there any more questions on that? Do you see some?
So I don't think so. It may be delayed due to YouTube, but we will come back to it in case there are. We can always take some time at the end if there is any specific questions.
Sure. Okay. Well, then we can jump to the next point, and I wanted to throw in that it is very important in self-marketing that you leave your comfort zone, and that means your comfort zone is most likely becoming more visible, because if I can speak for myself, when I started out, I only wanted to work and I wanted to get the next job, and I didn't want to spend too much time with marketing, or I didn't really enjoy reaching out to people, because I was not right there in the beginning. Anyhow, meaning becoming more visible means what I mean with it is that it is very important to find your channel, because it's not everybody's thing to either write a blog or to speak in podcasts, for example, or to film yourself with a camera for YouTube, or for short snippets that you can post in social channels like LinkedIn or Instagram or whatever. And or what you can do once you are a bit more experienced in your craft is you could find events that you could speak or that you could speak and connect later with the audience or with other speakers, just to expand your network. And of course, if you do that in a regular manner and you do it more often, it's likely that companies reach out to you that want to engage with you, or want you on. Oh, wait a minute, I can just bring us back here. That want to have you possibly as your ambassador, and that's exactly how Quentin and me met. And that is something that is truly important, because it's not only your craft that you have to master. You have to master communication as well. And I guess we covered that in one of our Insta Lives already. But if you choose your channel that you're good with, like if you're good with words and you don't like to speak, possibly getting your knowledge or your expertise out in a blog post or in your own blog can be a great lead magnet for you that drives people to your platform, to your website, or if you speak with platforms that you could write a guest post on, that would be something that is everything that I speak about is passively working for you marketing-wise. So whenever you can leave a footstep, or if you can bring up your expertise in some sort of channel, it will be there and people will find it. And if you combine that with search engine optimization, all I'm talking about is all inbound marketing. And that is something that you don't need to pay for just with your time. So if you don't want to spend advertising money in social media, that's fine. But if you create content that helps others, I guess that's something that is truly valuable. And it's a step-by-step process, And when I started out, I had my website and I started posting a few images on Instagram or on Facebook, but that was more shooting them out without really bringing some content with it, or bringing some value with it. And I don't know about you, Quentin, but you started YouTubing much earlier than I guess. And so by putting yourself out there, not only to share your expertise, but also by helping others to answer questions, to give them maybe some feedback on questions on their work, or by connecting to live audiences. I think, in my experience, this had led to many interesting new connections and to great experiences that had opened doors in the long run. Do you have, do you have experience like that too?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's even better for a retoucher like yourself than a photographer. As a retoucher, I mean, many photographers are going to search for techniques to make retouching easier and faster because we want to shoot and we don't want to spend all of our time in front of a computer retouching. So when I started, I actually started by offering advice on retouching because I got into photography by retouching. But I didn't really want to retouch for others, though I had quite a few requests for retouching jobs. And I'm sure YouTube for that is a great way if you want to get into retouching to advertise your work. As a photographer, it helped me in some different ways, not to get jobs directly from my work. I had a few clients who found me from different platforms and then went onto YouTube and found out my work and how I worked and all of that, which is always interesting to see clients who are interested about the more behind the scenes. But it opened up the way to get access to like ambassador programs or to meet new and other photographers who then, when they are too busy, they are going to send jobs your way because they know how you work, they like your work, and they feel confident sending you new work. So yeah, I had some photographers sending me jobs more than I had clients contacting me from YouTube or other channels like that. But definitely social medias and being open about what you do and try to communicate, like you said, everywhere you can is really important and valuable for everyone, including yourself. So absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely something you should do. And like you said as well, just find something that works for you because like YouTube is definitely a lot of work. It takes time. And it's not for everyone. When I started out, I just didn't want to put my face on YouTube, which is why some of the first videos are just my screen and my voice. But then with time it changed. But yeah, it's interesting to try new things as well. So yeah.
That's absolutely right. And for me, it was, I started out connecting to people online and asking for a discussion to actually, bounce some ideas on the creative work, on our portfolios, and that led to actually me wanting to give something back. As I was learning from people on my way, and I still am, of course, because no one's ever ready learning, and I really enjoy this learning curve, never ending, and always finding new inspiration and techniques and improving my craft. But with almost 20 years now that I am in the creative industry, I have made my steps so far. But what I found is that the more experienced you get, the more confident, of course, you get in what you can deliver in like skill-wise. But communication is something that if you are not really, I think you don't have to be extrovert to do that. But if you're open to connect to other people and to speak about your work, you will be surprised by how open people react. It's not that the haters are waiting around the corner until you show up and show your stuff. But if you just step up and show some kind of work, and if you, let me give you one example. I found it interesting because I have been asked a couple of times that if I could show how to retouch an image from from the very first step in raw converting in Capture One to the over the whole retouching process until the end, like a full retouch. And I thought that, hey, I have some really nice fashion editorials or beauty editorials that I've been working on, and I thought that I'm just going to do that. And when I am posting these images, the final images on Instagram or on Behance or on LinkedIn, I will always put a link, and I will explain that, hey, this is the final result of the process of the team work that we did. But if you're interested in the post-production, feel free to check out this video that is linked below to get some value out of it and see how it's done, either for inspiration, or if you want to learn step by step, that's for you and that's for free. And I just felt that I wanted to do that, and it opened so many doors, and people were excited about it, and I got feedback from all over the world, and that was amazing. By just being open about it and speaking about it, because I couldn't know if people like it or not, but I was just trying and showing it, and I was enjoying the process, and so that led to the first thing that happened was that it got seen. The second thing was that people were reaching out to me and letting me know that they really enjoyed watching it and that they learned something. And the third thing was that I was referred to agencies or to clients by people that have watched my content, and so they referred my name to those companies, and they reached out, and we've been working together. And that's the most beautiful thing that can happen. And if people are so happy seeing your content, that they forward your name to companies that actually want to work with you. So if I wouldn't have taken this step because of, I don't know, laziness or being shy or being not in the mood, this would never have happened. And that's what I mean. But you never know what you get in return. But I can promise you one thing. If you are kind and generous and give something to the people out there, either is it to learn or for inspiration, you will get something back. And that's nothing that you have to ask for, but you have to be patient, and that's the thing. And that's what I mean with leaving your comfort zone.
Yeah, and being patient is something that's really important, even with what I said before about cold emailing. So many people have asked me, but I've done it for a few weeks and I don't get any results. And I'm like, yeah, sure. But it's just not a sprint. It's something long-term. And perhaps the first emails weren't well drafted. Perhaps you had some other issues. And the one I wanted to bring up is the next point, my actually next tip for self-marketing, is having a meaningful and strong portfolio. I think it's something so many people overlook because nowadays everyone is so focused on Instagram. Everyone wants the fame on the gram, and it's like,
nicely put.
They don't really it's like, let's get some new followers on Instagram, let's move on to TikTok once it's done, and then come back for the reels, and then go to LinkedIn for some contacts. And sure, you can do whatever you want, but if you don't have the work to show, you won't go anywhere. This year, I've shot about, I think, over 60 personal projects because I wasn't happy with my portfolio. I felt like it wasn't representing myself. It wasn't representing what I could do, and it was not personal enough. So I really put in a lot of efforts to work on it, and it's now a lot better. And I think if I hadn't done that, the cold emailing and even the YouTube stuff, it wouldn't work like it's working now. I mean, people come for the quality and the originality of my work. Well, originality, I don't know if I can say that, but at least it's in some way a lot more personal than it used to be.
Your style, right?
Yeah, your style, and
you always
something
have your signature style.
Yeah, it's something that I'm growing, that I've learned actually working on a training session for a web platform that's French, Empa. I was working on the business, the marketing stuff, and then working on the portfolio part as well. And in it, I was saying you should show like who you are through your images. And when I was looking at my images, I was like, yeah, it's me, but it's not really me. Like I was missing a lot of the nature part, which is something that I love. I was missing some connection to creative people that I love to work with creative people. And just some small parts like that that some people may not notice when they look at my work, but I did. And I felt like if I could notice it, it meant that the work that I was showing my clients wasn't the work I should be doing. And by changing that, it just changed the clients I was getting, and it just changed my business as a whole. And now I feel a lot more confident about my work. I feel a lot more confident about talking about my work as well. Because before, like the past couple of years, when someone was asking me what I was doing professionally, I was like, well, I'm a photographer. Whereas now I'm just happy to talk about it. And I feel like having a body of work and a portfolio that you feel confident about, that you really push to find your style, like you just said, and including personal stuff in it. And that's something I really insist on, because my portfolio today, if you go to my website, I'd say about 80% is personal work. And for some, it may be way too high, but I feel that's the best way to showcase my work and who I am as a photographer. And just having a part of commercial work is important as well, just to show that you can actually follow a brief and that you can execute what a client asks for. Because some photographers are really good at creating stuff, but they are not good at following instruction or doing something that's asked from them. And I'm sure for retouchers, it's the same. Like, I don't know if you feel like, is it the same for you as a retoucher?
Sure, but it has two different reasons. So the first one is I always try to find a good balance between commercial work and free and artistic work, either collaborations with great photographers or with other retouchers, or something that is where I can truly bring out my creativity. And this is not something that every retoucher has, I guess. I'm coming from an artistic background, so I'm coming from being a graphic designer and art director. And I was always keen on creating visual experiences and not just the technical part of being a retoucher. So there's these two hearts that are beating. And having, of course, the commercial jobs are the ones that mostly, not exclusively, pay the bills. But like these artistic works, let's call it artistic works, those are the ones that you can truly bring your soul in, right? Yeah. And your creativity. And that is something that I always want to have at least in balance. And when you're a retoucher, you are, I think it's a good idea to connect to photographers that style that you like and that you can identify with, and to form like a partnership with these guys to be able to fill your portfolio with really beautiful and creative work that gets your soul on fire, and that you can like bring in all your love and your full creativity. And by doing so, you will have the work in your portfolio that you want to show to create new clients that are reaching out to you because you do what you do. And the other thing is that being a commercial retoucher has some limitations in the right to use like finished artwork for agencies or for clients, because it happens more often than not that they don't want you to show the images on your portfolio. That happens quite a lot
for photographers. Yeah,
and that is something that, of course, makes it easy, makes it less easy and a bit harder to show this kind of work. When you do some campaigns for, in my case, for like Henkel or Schwarzkopf, Sayers, companies like that do a lot of hair, create hair products, and hair retouching is some form of the hardest retouching that you can do. And or let's say hard. It's the most challenging ones, or the one that if you master that, you have got something that maybe is something that sets you apart from others skill-wise. But the thing is that these kind of jobs are mostly produced 2 to 3 years in advance, and if you work on the products, you are not likely to be able to show this work like in a very short amount of time. So you need some patience to be allowed to show that in 3 years, and you cannot really advertise with that. So that's something that you would want to show in one-on-one meetings, or that you show in person and not on the web. So there we come to the cold emailing again. So once you establish a local meeting or an online meeting, you can then possibly show what you do, because you're not distributing it somewhere. But of course, it would be nice to be able to show that, especially since these kind of products are in shops anyhow. So, but that's another story. But you're absolutely right. And I think, my second point would touch yours. So if you have got something to add, feel free. So otherwise we could move to the next point.
Yeah, perhaps just one last thing regarding what you just said about not being able to show some of your work. It's the same for photographers. Although it's not in terms of law, it shouldn't be. A client shouldn't be able to prohibit from showing the work. But anyways, it's still a practice in the industry. But something that I want to add is I personally don't show all of my work, meaning I advertise myself as a product and beauty photographer, even though I do more than that. Meaning if some clients ask for some architecture stuff, or for some portrait stuff, or even sometimes I do some documentary style photography, which is a bit more rare nowadays. I still do. I just don't advertise. I do have portfolios in PDF that I can send clients who are asking for that. I won't send it out to everyone, but if it's a job that I feel that's interesting and that I want to do, I'll just send out the PDF. I do some industrial photography as well, which is something I just don't want to advertise and that I cannot advertise about, because most of the stuff that I photograph are all under NDA. But still, I can show through PDF portfolios on a one-on-one meeting on my iPad or through Zoom or whatever.
Of course.
Just have to make, and that's something that's important as well, because when I'm talking about meaningful and impactful portfolio, I believe that you should show a specialized version of yourself, even though you're not. Just showcase what you love the most to do. As if you had to do only one thing or two things for the rest of your life, what would it be? And just put that forward, and the rest either take it out or make it less visible, so that your work looks a lot stronger.
Yes, and you don't need 20 pieces of work in your portfolio. I think 3 to 5 really striking ones are more than enough to show what you're capable of and get people interested in you. Because if you have too much, and as you said, spread over too many disciplines, that would be something that can lead to having the people leave earlier than you think, and because it's not that you're there to talk to them and to explain these projects, even though you might really like them and they are crafted really beautifully, but if it doesn't match the expectation of the visitor of your website or your portfolio, that could lead to frustration maybe. But of course it doesn't have to, but that's something that I think everybody needs to find out for themselves what works. But from our side, I guess we agree on that. Absolutely.
Yep.
Okay, so what I wanted to point out, a second point, is that if one thing that I think is very good for self-marketing is working on really strong collaborations with people that are very top-notch, right? That are people that are really, in my case, for example, really good photographers. And because if you connect to people that are not better than yourself, you cannot really grow from that. And if you want to reach the next level, and there's always a next level, it doesn't matter how good you are, it does make sense to reach out to people that have a good name, or that have like a really good team, because that's even more important. If you want to if you want to grow your portfolio, and if you want to grow your like artistic vision, work with people that are better than you, and work with people that have a good team, meaning a great stylist, a great makeup artist, a good light assistant, a good set design, and of course a good photographer in my case. And if you have these components and you work on a great editorial that is going to be published in an international magazine, it does absolutely make sense to collaborate on this, even if it's not paid. Most of these jobs are not really paid, but the good thing about it is that everybody that is involved is very proud of this result, of this publication, and of this great teamwork, so that you can be sure that everybody is gonna like share this, and it's gonna be published on everyone's website. It's gonna be published on everyone's social media channels. And if you, for instance, use Behance, I really like Behance as a platform, because you can put your work on it, and it's most likely that if you have got something that is published in an international magazine, that is going to be featured, and that it's going to be like curated to be shown to a larger audience, and that's almost like happening every time that you have a publication in one of those great fashion magazines. And if you do so, you have it's something like a butterfly effect. You start with working on that project, and it ends up like being everywhere. And the other thing that you can do in addition was, in my case, I created a tutorial out of that, and I showed it. And I also did a Capture One webinar with it that has been shown to a larger audience. And this had led to jobs that came from that. So one free job can lead to a huge amount of feedback, to a huge amount of, let's say, visibility. And in the end, it can bring in new connections and new nice and great contacts, and also bring jobs. So I think that's what happens when you work with good people and you're reaching out to people that are better than you to just grow for the next step, and team up with these guys, grow together, and make some great work. And then this is the passion that you have to put in, right? And either you feel it or you don't. But if you don't, then it's fine to do just the technical stuff or not to talk about it. But most likely, if you do so, you'll get the jobs that you really want.
That's totally true. I totally agree about all of it. And I think even as a way to learn, it's a great way to work with people that are better than you. I had the opportunity to work with an international recognized makeup artist a few years ago. And I learned so much from her, because she has worked with photographers that I look up to, and then she had developed an eye for details that those photographers would see. And so when we were on set, she was like, oh, look at that, look at this, look at, oh, and can you do that on Capture One? Can you edit this way, this way, this way? Which, well, some of the thing I wasn't fully agreeing on, but some of the stuff was interesting and some of it was really eye-opening. So it's great to be working with people that are on another level than you, and it just brings you up. If you're working with people just to make yourself look good because you're better than them, it's just going to do that, make you look better than them. It's not going to make you grow as a photographer, as a retoucher, or whatever creative job you do. I feel like it's so important to be working with people that are better than you. And even if you're hiring people, hire people that are better than you. It's always a great idea.
Of course, but just to point out that of course it's fine to work with just a very ambitious team and grow together. Yeah. So sometimes it's also a matter of availability, right? Sometimes you don't have the option to work with a team locally, and if you don't. It can be a good idea to reach out to people online to talk about that. Hey, I really admire your work. You have a great team, and I would like to be part of that. So can we do a test job together? I'm offering like let's do one free editorial together, and if it clicks, we're gonna continue that. And the deal can be that we do the paid jobs together as well, right? And there's some comments coming in.
Yeah, just looking at it. Not sure I get it. It's recording what we're talking about. Yeah.
Currently, most models use fake. Okay. Well, I can't say much about that.
I'm not sure I can say much more. I mean, sure, some brands do bizarre choices, the same photographer do, and perhaps in London the market is not good, or perhaps it feels like it because you're looking at brands that feel like that hire the wrong people. But I don't feel like the market is changing that much that I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think there's so much work out there, and you can. The most important thing is to find people that you really want to work with and establish a great connection. Because in the end, the creative work is always a people's business, and if you establish a good personal connection with your audience or with your customers, then you can bring value every time that you work with the people. And before we go to the next point, is there something that you would like to add to this, or shall we move on? Because I think we said it all about this.
Yeah, I think it's quite clear, and I fully agree with you. So not much to say more.
Well, we've got something more that we want to throw out, and we don't want to take too much time from everybody here.
Yeah.
So if you want, just continue with your next point.
Sure. My last one was actually following up on yours. So working with people that can create value or add value to your business. I would even go further and say try to find people to outsource some of your work, and that can take different forms. For me, in the beginning of this year, it was working with Wonderful Machine for some of my marketing. So they taught me a lot about my marketing and how I could improve it. And it has opened my eyes on some of the things that I was doing wrong, including the cold emailing in the beginning. They showed me some of the ways to improve it. And then from that, I added some of my own stuff to make it at least not better, but suit myself better. And I feel like having someone who's coming from outside of your business and actually even outside of your life, it's really good, because then you get a fresh pair of eyes on your work and on your business. And it's really something that helps to me at least, it really helped me because some of my family, including my stepbrother and my sister, are working in the creative industry. My stepbrother is in the video industry, and my sister she's an art director. So that's good, and we've got some great talk together. But being family is always different. Even if you want to be like straight on and give proper criticism, it's still family and it's going to be different. So having someone who's coming from the outside is always good. And at least it helped me a lot. And yeah, I mean, if you can hire someone from the outside, even if it's just for a photo critic, like pushing your portfolio out to critics, there are some events. I mean, well, perhaps not in the coming month, but online events for the present time. I'm sure you can find some events where you can show your portfolio and then have a review of it, or you can find someone, even if that's an accountant, to take care of your money stuff. And so you don't do like me. I'm still doing my taxes for the 31st and I'm so late. So that's stuff.
You got 2 more days. No, yeah, you do.
It's still so much time. No, but I mean, for example, that's a goal for me for next year, is finding a great accountant so I don't have to take care of that anymore. Because I realized this year taking care of my finances a lot more, even though I'm still late for my taxes, my business has grown a lot more than it has in the past few years. So if I take care of each part of my business in the best way possible, then my business is going to grow as a whole. Just like you said, for growing as a team. If everyone is getting better, then the work is getting better. Your business is the same. If every part is getting better, then obviously it's going to grow and get better. So if you can get someone that helps you grow your marketing, someone that helps you grow your business money-wise, I mean, by having a financial advisor or an accountant or something like that, having someone who can criticize your work, and that can be different people in different times of the year, like get a photo editor at some point, then try to find an agent who can criticize your work, and just try to find different people that really can help you open your eyes on some point of your business and on your work as well, and then help you grow. Because some people are just going to help you open your eyes on your portfolio, while some may just help you grow and teach you some stuff, or just take some.
So there are so many
out of your plate. Yeah,
there are so many things that you can improve on. Like you said, like financial or tax wise, or like being and what's that, accounting, and but also like if you think about how you handle clients, how you handle communication, or how you could improve your skills in your craft as such. And it's always a good idea to have some kind of network of trust that you that you are willing to give some parts of your whole work out, because you don't have to do it all yourself. That's a struggle that you are in the beginning, and some people will always be, because they never really outsource. And outsourcing doesn't mean that you have to, in regards of retoucher, for example, to do like parts of your job, like let someone do it, but other people that really can help you with all the other things that are on your list that you still need to do. Because that's one thing that you definitely need to learn when you start out as a freelancer. You are your own company, and a company is not just the work, the craft itself. There's so much more. Like you are accountable for bringing in new clients. You are accountable for your communication, for everything that is included. And that's a very good point that you bring up, to search for help and grow your team, as so to say, right? You need people that you can rely on.
Yeah. And actually, I think it could be even a great episode for I don't know, January or February, we'll see, but about outsourcing, because I believe so many people see like outsourcing as a bad thing, especially as you're a retoucher. I think it could be interesting to talk about it, because I hear so many photographers being like, oh, no one could edit my work the way I do it, or my retouching is just my style, and oh, I don't want to find someone to help me on the marketing, because marketing is mostly about personality, so I have to do it myself. And all of that is just, in my opinion, it's just so much garbage. Like, sure, you've got to do stuff in your business, but a creative business is just that, a business, and your services are the creative stuff. So as long as you can do the creative stuff, and for a photographer, I believe this should be photography. That's the most important stuff, and all of the rest could be outsourced. I mean, so yeah, definitely, I think it could be a great topic for next time. We'll see.
Sure. And one thing that I needed to add was that I have heard a lot of times that, no, I don't really need to advertise, or I don't really need to like communicate. And I was like, yeah, I've heard others say that, because if you don't put your work and yourself out there, other people will. And there's nothing wrong with just having a really good portfolio out there. And of course, you don't have to do YouTube videos or Instagram videos or being very active on LinkedIn or whatever. But I think you have to know about all those things, and you have to be able to decide if it's a good idea to make yourself more visible. And if you don't, it might happen. Of course, it doesn't have to, but it might happen that you are going to be forgotten because other people come up and they are doing a good job, and maybe not right now. Of course, it depends on how good you are and how good your network is, but most certainly over time it will happen. And if you are not present, and if you don't know about the possibilities that you have, well, other people have, and you are going to lose. And that's going to happen, believe it or not. But we'll talk in the end, right? if we move 10 to 20 years further, of course, nobody knows if we are still going to do that job the way we do now, especially with all the technical stuff that's coming up. But I can be very sure that if you are making yourself a valuable brand, you will be still valuable at that time. But if you forget about speaking about the value that you bring to others, or bringing value to others together with others, it's most likely that people are your contacts in agencies or clients. They will go somewhere else, and there will be new people coming in. And if you are not prepared for that with a good, strong brand or with a good, strong self-marketing strategy, you will most likely be in a not as good position as the others who do.
Yeah.
And that leads to my last point, and I wanted to say that it's very important to bring value with every single post that you put out. It's not about showing how good you are and look at that, look what I have done, like many people do. And I think it's the least you can do is, if you don't want to like tell a story with it, the least you can do is like to give credit to the whole team, to talk about what kind of teamwork you did to create this piece of art. And so that's one point. And so you're bringing value to the people that you worked with, and everybody is sharing the same passion, and people see that you're generous. And the other thing is that if you tell something about the idea, the concept, you can bring some inspiration to others. You can make people curious about your work, about your brand. and you can give some insights or some thoughts that you had while creating the creative concept. You can give a little bit more information that are valuable to the people, or you can, if you, as I said earlier, if you have got the chance to create a video about that or to write a blog post about that, you can include that into your social post that you do, and you can, for those who are interested, you can leave a little bit more information to connect even more with you, and to as Gary Vaynerchuk said, you jab, and then there's the right hook. You give, and then you can ask for something.
Yeah.
And that is something that I think some people didn't understand yet. And of course, it can help to just show your work. But I think if you provide a little bit more value and people know that you always give something, you'll get most likely a lot of attention back in return. And to wrap things up, I think it is very important to, if you're building a community, but you know that much more than I do because you have got a larger community. But if you are building a community, I think it's very important to build up some trust, to show interest, and to be kind, because it's not hard to be kind, and it's not hard to just give something, give a little bit more, and provide some take-home value in everything that you do, and so that people go away from your YouTube, from your podcast, from your post, and say that, hey, this was really interesting. I got something out of that, and so that's what I wanted to point out as one of the last things that I wanted to share was when I started my podcast. I had the intention to connect with people that I could possibly work with, because I know so many people from the creative industry over the course of the last 20 years that have so interesting stories to tell, and that have such interesting careers, and of course none of them has planned it in a straight line. So it happened like that people were moving to their goal like this, and so whenever you reach out to someone and you are truly interested in the person, and you can build up a connection on a personal level, this is something that sets you apart from all your competition. Because if you have got a personal connection with a client, you don't have to be friends. You just need to be interested and truly interested. If you are not truly interested, people will notice. But if you are, and if you can build up like a really personal connection, you will have, if there's two people with the same skill set, people will work with the ones that they like better, or that they communicate better with. And so it's not only very important to be very good at your craft, it's also important to deliver that kind of trust and good relationship. And of course, take responsibility. If you screw something up, you are accountable for that, and no one else is. And if you are like honest about that, you can most likely, if you have a good relationship, you can even that out, or you can move on to the next project, or you can discuss very honestly about this. And by having this kind of conversations like we have here now, that's also the same thing. We are from that industry, and we are discussing these topics that we have in our heads, but we do it publicly, so we can bring some value to people that are interested. And even if it helps just one person, it does serve a purpose. And that is something that is very fulfilling for me, and I know for you too. So that's why we do this. Yeah. And I think that's all I had for self-marketing. And I think we covered quite a lot. And I'm really thankful for all these really intense points and topics. So I think really cool. Thank you.
Yeah, I think there was a lot in this, and you've wrapped things up quite nicely. So yeah, perhaps just to come back to one thing, like you said, some people think like you don't need to market and just Instagram and a website is good enough. I just wanted to come back to that because for a while I was part of those person who thought that was enough. Because coming from the wedding photography industry, that used to be enough for me. I mean, I had a website, good SEO on it, and then future groom and bride would find my website from Google or from Instagram or Facebook, and that was enough. And then when I slowly transitioned to commercial work, I was like, I don't get it. I don't advertise wedding photography much, but I still get more weddings than I do commercial work. And I didn't understand why. And then when I started to do all the things that we talked about today, I was like, that's why. SEO is good. SEO is good. Website is great. And having a good Instagram as well. But I think there are more important things. And having a great portfolio, working on your business, working on finding new contacts, making new contacts, developing relationship with your clients, current, past, and potential clients is so crucial. So yeah, that was interesting as talk, and yeah, I wanted to talk about that because I know so many people coming from the wedding industry moving on to commercial, especially with COVID, just forget not everything you learned about wedding photography and how to market it, but just forget about having just great SEO. SEO for commercial work it just doesn't work. Don't work on your SEO, just work on other things. It's still, if you can put some great effort in SEO because you've got some free time, that's good, but it shouldn't be your priority number one.
Yes, I think so too. SEO is one thing, but as one can notice, if you check Google and if you read in the tech magazines, so if you see how the algorithms work right now, if you type in certain keywords in Google, most likely video content is going to be shown first, or at least a lot of it on the first page. So that says something already. And voice is also a topic that you shouldn't leave out of sight, because that's going to happen pretty soon. And if you can be, so people are talking to Alexa and people are talking to Siri, and if you are the one that is available, if you are in a podcast and if you are speaking about your topic, your niche, your craft, you have got one advantage over the people that don't. And so if you put out some video content where you put in some chapter marks in YouTube, you will see that if it's related to the topic that you're advertising or that you're working on, people will find it, and they will find it over the search results of the others that just work in that area. And that is something that is just the beginning of the change in the algorithm. So if you produce some content now to bring value to people out there, Google will notice, and as long as it's not crappy content, it will be shown on the top of the search results, and you can take benefit from that over working on SEO. So if you're working on content, that is definitely helping to put you on top of the list if people are searching. And the other thing is, if you produce some content that is like helping others in as a good tutorial, or just with a good story, that is something that is advertising for you too. Because if someone's searching for a retoucher, or if a photographer is looking for some help in retouching, let's put it that way, and he or she is finding your video and sees that, oh, I do have to put that much work in to get that result. Maybe I can hire this person instead of doing it myself by first learning this. And that's a fair thing, because a photographer needs to be taking photos and working on campaign over campaign over campaign. That's what most of the commercial photographers want to do. And again, if you have a good team, I think that's the most important thing, overdoing it all yourself, because you're limiting yourself time-wise and you are maybe missing out on chances to create great collaboration, great work, I mean.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Do we have got some questions there, or some feedback? Let's see.
Some feedback, very good tips. Thank you guys for your knowledge. Well, thank you guys for following the live. I know some of you are from my channel and I speak in French, so I wasn't sure if you guys would be showing up today, so that's good to see. And Cedric, don't worry about the question before. I just wasn't sure I got it, and I think it was, yeah, like you said, a bit off topic, so I perhaps for another time.
Never mind, but we're grateful that you're here, and we're grateful that you took the time to listen to us. And if this brought some value to you, don't be shy and hit the like button, and or subscribe to our channels, and we will. I guess, Quentin, my first thought on being here on YouTube today was that I think it has some benefits over Instagram, that we could show some things, and that we could have a future here. It feels like it can be a new home.
Yeah, and I feel like it's a more enjoyable way of doing things. It's easier with the chat, and for people for the replay as well. Then if you couldn't watch tonight or couldn't watch the whole thing, it's much easier to replay on YouTube. So if you guys like this way better than the Instagram, just let us know in the chat or in the comments. We are also open about criticism, about how we do things. So just, leave us a comment and we'll see how we do it for next time.
Yeah, and maybe I can work a bit on my French. So
I could work on my German as well, but I think English is good as well. It changes. I've been wanting to do some English content for so long. I mean, since I've started writing for Stoppers, but never got around it. So it's a good, and we'll see if it works well.
That's what I want. Now that you said it, that's what I wanted to ask, because if I may, if you do have 1 more minute, F-stoppers.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Because that's something that people might be interested in. How did you come up with the idea of writing something for F-stoppers, and how did you approach that?
They actually reached out to me. Perhaps, hold on, I'm gonna see if I can find the picture in questions, because where could I have it? Perhaps on F-stoppers? Hold on.
You let me know when I switch to your screen.
Yeah. I'm just looking, because if I don't show the picture, it's just a bit weird. Or, perhaps I have it in my portfolio somewhere. Dropbox. Sorry, guys, if I could sing, I would sing to make a thing go smoother, but I'm sure you don't want to hear me sing. It would be terrible. Okay, so beauty.
Maybe I can answer a question of George in the meantime. He asked that, is pro bono a better way than saying working for free? Because most people who work for free feel they are being duped. Well, I see it this way. Working for free doesn't mean that you work for nothing, right? Of course, if you work for a very cheap price, that's something that I wouldn't want to do. But I have that one rule for myself. I work for the full price, or I work for free. And because working for free can lead to great new connections, it can lead to great publications, and it can lead to so many things that you don't know before you do it. It's an easy way to test a collaboration, and that can open many doors. And of course, you have to have your gut feeling, right? If you are contacted by someone who says that, hey, can you do that for free? that's possibly something that you don't want to do. But if you are like approached in a very nice way, and or if you approach someone in a nice way or in a kind way, you can figure out all the what's that word? Come on, I'm searching for a word here.
Try it in German.
You can look for die Voraussetzungen. I don't know. Anyhow,
sorry.
Do I have to Google that now?
German doesn't go that far.
Just a second.
Sure thing.
It's late. Requirements that the job brings, and so if you do so, you can then very likely get a good feeling if that's something that you would want to do or not. But working pro bono is something else. I think pro bono is, for me, working for a good cause, working for a project that is helping others, or that is supporting, like I recently supported a project that was helping the homeless here in my hometown in Düsseldorf, and that was something that I, of course, wanted to do pro bono and wanted to do for free. I don't want to have money for that. I just wanted to help, and that was just to make sure that we have a good campaign image for that great company that or organization that wanted to give a nice Christmas feeling to the homeless by providing them things they really need by collecting money, and that worked out pretty well. So that's pro bono for me. I want to do something that helps others without wanting something for that. But with free work, I want some exposure, and I want the side effects of that.
They are asking for the next live to be in German.
Who said that?
So,
yeah, we can do that. Most likely.
Sure.
But then we have to do one in French too.
Yeah,
that's going to be fun. That's going to be a very short. That's going to be a very short one.
Yeah. Both are going to be so short, like 2 minutes. Hey guys.
So did you find what you wanted to show?
Yeah, sure. I found it. It's on my screen. You can share.
There you go. Yes.
So yeah, that's a picture I shot in 2015, I believe. 14? No, nice. 2014. The first year I had a studio, and that's the year I started to shoot in studio, actually. So we shot that, and it got a bit of exposure on Facebook, and then that was the same time when F-Stoppers also started to develop the community. So it was a place where you could share your work, and people could rate it from 0 to 5. And by some random chance, I don't know how, one of the founder of F-Stoppers, Lee Morris, stumbled upon the picture, and he sent me a message asking if I wanted to write about how I create such work on F-Stoppers. So that's actually how it got started, and I was like, I'm not so sure, because I'm like not, I mean, English is not my mother tongue, so I'm not sure about writing in English. I used to speak better English than I do now, but still, I wasn't so confident about writing something on a regular basis, because I had to write every single week one article, and 2 of the articles per month had to be originals. So something I would write just for F-Stoppers and not something I would find on YouTube or whatever just to make a repost. So it actually asked a lot of work from me, but it was a great challenge as well. So it's actually from one single picture that I got to write for F-Stoppers, which led me to then get in touch with Capture One, which led me to become a Linkrom ambassador as well. So yeah, one picture led to the next thing, which led to the next thing, and
that's so cool. And that's exactly what we talked about, right? This butterfly effect. You start something here, and it turns out that it opens so many doors that you didn't even think of before.
Yeah, and it actually covers all the points we went through. I mean, creating great work. If the picture, if I had to reshoot it today, I would do things differently. The hair retouching is terrible. The beads are recolored in post because we had no time to get the thing on time. Well, there are things that I would do differently, but still, at the time for my first year shooting beauty and portraits in studio, I think it's quite good. And by creating that and then sharing it on different platforms and trying to make some noise around it and not just be like, oh, let's post it on Instagram and see how many likes it gets. I was trying really hard to get it on as many platforms as I could so someone could stumble upon it. And yeah, that's marketing 101. I mean, just trying to get your work seen by people and not just wait for people to find you in some way. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's a really great picture, by the way. A great concept. Thanks. And
I cannot take full credit for it because actually it was inspired by another photographer, Rankin. He's a British photographer. I don't know if you know. I mean,
sure, I know, but maybe some others don't, of course. He's very big in business.
Yeah, he's huge. I mean, his work is brilliant. I just love his work. And he had created a series inspired by death. I think he painted people in black, not to mix up with blackface. It's a different thing, but just to make things a bit more contrasty on the faces. So he then glued stuff on it. And he had one that he did with a makeup artist I actually love as well. He was with beads as well. And we try to take a different way than just photographing people straight on. So we try to create something a bit different with just half the face and have a different concept. But still, it was inspired by his work because I just love what he does. And that was at the beginning when I was trying to mimic some photographers and take just small, tiny bits of their concepts to then create mine from it.
Yeah, perfect. Really. And I just had one last thought that I was inspired to now. When I started my podcast in 2017, I did it to share some stories, and but not knowing that I was going to be asked to actually speak at a gig, speaking gig here in Düsseldorf of Wacom. They asked me if I would like to speak about my portfolio. And that was the first speech that I was about to give as a retoucher. And I knew that there were like 250 people that wanted to, exchange their portfolios. And there were like 3 or 4 people were asked to actually perform on stage. And I said, well, I'm going to take that chance to not only show my portfolio, but also launched a podcast on that day. And I did, and I didn't know what would happen after that. So actually people were listening, of course, and I was contacted by Capture One shortly after that. Hey, we have that standout event in Hamburg, which it's a city in Germany in the north, where we just one guy cancelled, and would you like to jump in? I know it's short timing, but next week would be the date. Would you like to come and speak in front of 300 photographers? And I was like, okay, why not? It's a good chance to not only earn some money for the speaking gig, but also present to photographers that, as I'm a retoucher, it possibly has a chance to form a new connection. And so I did, and it was great. It was a great experience, and it opened the next door. So I was hired again for like 3 or 4 times to give speeches in Germany, like all over the place. And also I was asked to produce a video tutorial. So these were all new experiences that were starting just because I decided that I want to start a podcast. but I didn't know that it would end up in speaking gigs in front of a real crowd, and also in new connections. And so I think it is very important to prepare that if you do something and if people like it, it will go around. And it's the same with your picture. It opened you the door to write for f-stoppers, to get more exposure. And you didn't know that when you created that image.
Yeah.
And there's so many possibilities to have these effects, but you need to take that one step to do it, to speak about it, to show it, and that I think is a good last sentence that we can put for today. That get yourself seen, make something out of your work by communicating, and it's opening doors for magic to happen.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, let's wrap it up. And sure. I don't know if people are still here, but thank you all for staying and for listening. And as I said earlier, hit the like button, leave a comment if you like, and we'll put the links later to this video description that you can see the websites that Quentin showed you today. And so one last thing, wishing you all a great start into your new year. And I guess we are going to see each other in 2022.
That's right. Yeah.
All right. So take care, everyone. Have a good time. And
take care, guys.
Celebrate the new year and to a great one coming ahead.
Yeah. Hopefully a best one. A better one.
All right. And you have fun with your taxes?
Yeah, I'm almost done. I'm going to go ahead and finish it right now so I can celebrate on Friday.
All right. So goodbye, everyone. Bye, Quentin. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
It was a pleasure. Bye.
Bye.